Welcome back, traveler, to the world asleep, and welcome to this new journey we will dive into. Together, we will step softly into 4 of Japan's most enchanting forests. Each one holds not only trees and stones, but whispers of spirit and memory, echoes of myth and timelessness. They are sanctuaries where the natural world and the human heart have long met in reverence. As you settle into rest, let your breath flow slow and deep, in and out, like the tide against a quiet shore. With each breath, imagine yourself leaving behind the noise of the day. Ahead, only stillness, only the pathways of ancient woods. And though we share this journey across distance, I wonder where in the world this story finds you. From what time zone? From what small corner of the earth are you listening to the voices of these forests? If you feel moved, you may share your answer in the comments below, a soft constellation of travelers joined in this moment of peace. And if you would like to return easily to these paths again, you may quietly tap like or subscribe for future wanderings. Now, let us leave the modern world behind. The first forest awaits, the rain-soaked primeval kingdom of Yakushima. Chapter 1: Yakushima, the kingdom of ancient cedars. South of Kyushu, across waters that shimmer between jade and deep indigo, lies a small island that feels almost outside of time, Yakushima. Though only a short ferry ride from the mainland, stepping onto its shores is like crossing into another age, another rhythm of the world. The air itself greets you with a kind of density, as though infused with memory. It is wet, humid, scented with resin and salt, laced with the faint metallic tang of rainfall. The island is known as one of the wettest places on Earth, receiving rain almost every day. Locals say it rains 35 days a month, and when you stand among the dripping boughs and moss-covered stones, you believe them. The water is constant, sometimes a light mist, sometimes a heavy curtain, sometimes a steady rhythmic drizzle that seems eternal. Imagine yourself arriving at dawn. The ferry quiets its engines as the island's silhouette sharpens in the morning haze. Mountains rise abruptly from the sea, their granite spines hidden under thick folds of cloud. There are no gentle slopes here, only steep ridges that climb skyward, disappearing into mist. Rivers thread down their sides in silver ribbons, swollen with the endless rain, tumbling in sudden waterfalls that vanish into deep ravines. Stepping onto the pier, the world feels softer. Sound does not carry the same way it does on the mainland. The air muffles, absorbs. The cry of a distant bird seems caught in velvet. Your footsteps fade quickly into the carpet of moss. Even your own breath feels hushed, as if the forest asks you to lower your voice to match its ancient stillness. Yakushima is not large, only about 500 square kilometers, but it contains entire worlds of climate and terrain. The island is, in truth, a mountain rising straight from the sea, its peaks climbing nearly 2,000 meters into the sky. The granite that forms its heart was thrust upward millions of years ago, and since then the ceaseless rain has carved valleys, gullies, and terraces into its surface. Moist air from the East China Sea sweeps toward Yakushima, colliding with its abrupt heights. Forced upward, the air cools, condenses, and falls. Again and again, every day, this cycle repeats. As a result, Yakushima holds multiple ecosystems stacked one upon another, layered like a stairway of climates. At the shore, subtropical plants thrive, camphor trees, banyans, and broad-leaved evergreens. Higher up, the forest becomes temperate, dominated by oaks and maples. Higher still, it transforms into boreal woodland where cedars and conifers dominate. And at the very peaks, twisted alpine pines cling to exposed ridges, shrouded in mist. To climb Yakushima is to walk from the tropics to the north, all in a single day. But it is the cedars Yakusugi that make Yakushima a place unlike any other. These Japanese cedars are not ordinary trees, they are ancient, living monuments to time. The word sugi means cedar, while yaku ties them to this island. By definition, a yakusugi is a cedar more than 1,000 years old, and on this island they are everywhere. Their trunks are vast, swollen, twisted by centuries of storms. Their bark peels in thick, fibrous sheets. Their roots sprawl like buttresses across mossy stones. Many are hollow within, yet still alive, still reaching skyward with green crowns. Some bear scars from lightning strikes, some from landslides, some from sheer weight and age, yet they endure. The most famous of all is the Jomon Sugi. Hidden deep in the mountains, it requires a long day's hike to reach, a pilgrimage through shifting mist and dripping leaves. Its trunk swells to over 5 meters in diameter, its girth too large to comprehend in a single glance. Estimates of its age vary 2,000 years at the youngest, 7,000 at the oldest. Whatever the truth, it predates recorded history, predates the rise and fall of empires, predates the words we use to name time. Standing before it, you feel your own years shrink to a single raindrop in a storm without end. But the Jomon Sugi is not alone. Other giants, Wilson Stump, Deo Sugi, Meoto Sugi, dot the mountains. Each has its own shape, its own legend. Some are hollowed through like corridors. Others split into twin trunks as though embodying companionship. They are not just trees, they are presences, each one distinct, each one a being unto itself. The Yakusugi are the high guardians, but beneath them sprawls an entire kingdom of green. The forest floor is thick with mosses, carpeting rocks, creeping up roots, softening every surface until the land itself seems alive. Ferns unfurl their delicate fronds from every crevice. Lichens paint the bark with silvery patterns. Even fallen logs, long since dead, sprout life anew. This abundance is fed by marine snow of the forest, the endless rain. Water gathers on leaves, slides down trunks, drips from moss, and seeps into the soil. Streams chatter in every hollow, gathering speed, leaping into waterfalls, and then resting again in still pools. To stand here is to be surrounded by the sound of water. Not a single stream, but 1,000 tiny voices weaving together into a symphony of patience. Among the greenery, life stirs. Yakushima macaques swing through branches, their cries sharp and sudden, then swallowed by mist. Yakushika deer, smaller than their mainland cousins, pick their way quietly through the undergrowth, pausing to graze on tender shoots. Salamanders slip between damp stones. Insects, many unique to the island, flicker like living jewels. And above all, the cedars breathe. Slowly, steadily, their needles whisper with each touch of wind. They anchor the island, not only physically but spiritually, shaping the rhythm of every life around them. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine. The air is heavy on your skin, warm yet cool with mist, a paradox of climates meeting in one place. Your ears are filled with water dripping, trickling, rushing far away. Each sound is softened, blurred by moss, as though the forest wants nothing to be harsh, nothing to be abrupt. The ground beneath your feet is damp, springy, layered with centuries of fallen needles. When you kneel, your hands sink into moss as plush as velvet, cool and faintly fragrant. The smell is a mingling of resinous cedar, sweet rot of decaying wood, and the clean clarity of rain. Vision itself seems altered. Light filters in broken beams through the canopy, fractured by leaves and mist. Some shafts glow like pale lanterns, others dissolve into shifting shadow. The forest seems at once open and endless, yet intimate, as though it bends inward to embrace you. In this sensory cradle, time slows. Each breath feels deliberate, each step a part of the forest's long rhythm. You are no longer an intruder, but a guest. To walk in Yakushima is to walk among more than trees. Here, the forest is not just a collection of roots and branches, it is a presence. For centuries, people of Japan have understood the natural world as infused with kami, spirits, deities, essences of life that dwell in rocks, rivers, mountains, and trees. The Yakusugi are such kami. Their immense age, their endurance through storm and lightning, their vast roots gripping granite slopes all speak of patience beyond human measure. Locals once believed that to cut a cedar without ceremony was to invite misfortune, for the tree itself was aware, alive, and capable of remembering. Many of the ancient giants still standing today were spared because they were thought too sacred to harm. Even in our own time, visitors often describe a feeling of being watched, not in a fearful sense, but in a deeply humbling one. The cedars, it seems, gaze outward with a wisdom that does not need words. You stand before them, and you feel both smaller and more complete, as though recognized by something vast and timeless. This sense of presence carried beyond the island itself, inspiring art and story. Studio Ghibli's Princess Mononoke drew its forest spirit from Yakushima's mossy roots and misty glades. The shifting fog, the quiet yet powerful guardianship of nature, the idea that the land itself could have a voice. These are not inventions, but echoes of the real island. Walk Yakushima's trails, and you understand why such a story could only be born here. The people who lived here long ago told other tales as well. Stories of animals that carried messages from the spirits. Stories of mountain deities that guided or hindered travelers. Stories of trees so old they were thought to contain not only the memory of the island, but the memory of the world itself. In Yakushima, folklore is not a matter of belief alone, it is a response to a feeling that the forest is alive, aware, quietly watching. Now, imagine the night descending. The last golden streaks of sunlight fade behind the peaks. Mist thickens, silvered by moonlight. The air grows cooler, yet remains wet, as though each breath is a sip of the forest itself. Shadows lengthen, then merge into a single deep shade. The cedars vanish into silhouettes, their massive trunks black against the pale fog. You find yourself in the heart of the forest, following a narrow trail that winds upward among roots as thick as pillars. Your lantern glows faintly, but even without it, the forest is never fully dark. Every droplet of mist catches the moonlight, scattering it into soft halos. The moss glows faintly, holding light in its delicate threads. It feels as if the entire forest is breathing out a subtle, living radiance. The sounds shift too. The chatter of macaques falls silent. The rustle of deer stepping through undergrowth is rare, distant. What remains is water, always water, drops sliding from leaf to leaf. A rivulet trickling across stone. The low, endless hush of rain somewhere far above, filtering through countless layers of branches before it reaches the ground. The forest at night is not silent, but its voice is gentle, patient, like the whisper of an elder telling stories in the dark. Sit now at the base of one of the cedars. Feel its bark beneath your hand, fibrous, ridged, still warm from the day. Lean back and let the moss cushion your spine. Above you, the tree rises into invisibility, vanishing into mist, into shadow. It has stood here for thousands of years, through storms and seasons, through centuries of human history, and tonight it shelters you too. The air around you is heavy, but not oppressive. It holds you like a blanket. Each breath brings the resinous scent of cedar, sharp and grounding, mingled with the damp perfume of soil and ferns. It is the scent of renewal, of patience, of time itself. Here, in the ancient cedar forests of Yakushima, you are surrounded by patience older than memory. The cedars stand watch, their roots gripping stone, their crowns vanishing into mist. They carry centuries with ease, and they remind us that time need not be hurried. And yet, our journey continues. As we rise from the moss and step quietly forward, the resinous scent of cedar begins to fade. The ground grows firmer, drier, the air lightens. The massive trunks around us dissolve into something new, slender stalks, countless in number, swaying together in rhythm. The primeval hush of Yakushima gives way to a music all its own, the sound of bamboo creaking, rustling, knocking softly in the wind. We have left the kingdom of cedars behind, and now we walk into a different world, the whispering grove of Sagano in Arashiyama. Chapter 2: The Bamboo Groves of Sagano, Arashiyama, the Whispering Grove. As we rest at the base of an ancient cedar, lulled by the steady drip of water and the soft breath of mist, we feel the forest cradle us in its patience. Time here stretches into millennia, every moment carrying the weight of centuries. And yet, slowly, the scene begins to shift. The moss beneath our hands fades into smooth, packed earth. The resinous perfume of cedar gives way to something lighter, fresher, touched with sweetness. The towering, gnarled giants dissolve into slender, upright forms, straight as arrows, countless in number, rising skyward like living columns. We are no longer in Yakushima. We are walking a new path through a forest shaped not only by nature, but by human care, a forest of rhythm, of sound, of elegance. This is Sagano, in Arashiyama, Kyoto's whispering bamboo grove. Imagine stepping off a narrow lane into a corridor of living stalks. The world shifts instantly. The air cools, shaded by slender columns of green that soar skyward, straight and tall. The light changes to no longer direct, but filtered into countless shades of jade and emerald. Every surface glows with a soft, translucent radiance, as though you have stepped into the heart of a gem. The grove rises around you like a cathedral. The stalks are so tall, so impossibly straight, that your neck tilts back instinctively, searching for their crowns. Yet, even looking up, you see no end, only the sky broken into slivers of blue by a lattice of swaying leaves. The path beneath your feet is narrow, winding gently through the stalks. Every turn reveals more of the same, and yet it never feels monotonous. The repetition itself is soothing, like the rhythm of a mantra. Sound here is unlike anywhere else. The bamboo creaks and knocks in the wind, stalk against stalk, creating a low, resonant music. Leaves rustle in high, silken whispers. A gust of air stirs the grove, and suddenly it is as though 100 flutes play softly, rising and falling in harmony. This soundscape is so distinctive, so ethereal, that Japan's Ministry of the Environment has designated it one of the country's 100 soundscapes, an effort to preserve not just sights, but voices of nature worth remembering. Bamboo is not a tree. though it stands as tall as one. It is a grass, yet the largest grass on Earth, capable of reaching 30 meters in height. Its hollow stalks are smooth, segmented, colored in shades of jade and silver green. Unlike trees, bamboo does not grow thicker each year. Instead, each shoot emerges at its full diameter, rising with astonishing speed, sometimes more than a meter in a single day. Growth that we measure in decades for other plants, bamboo accomplishes in hours. This vitality makes bamboo a symbol of strength and resilience in Japanese culture. It bends in the wind, sways under snow, but rarely breaks. Its hollow stalks resonate when struck, producing the gentle knocking sounds that fill the grove. And when cut, it regenerates quickly, sending up new shoots from its underground rhizomes. To walk among bamboo is to walk among a plant that is both delicate and enduring, fragile in appearance but unyielding in spirit. In Sagano, the bamboo is carefully tended, paths are lined with wooden fences woven from fallen stalks, trails curve gently, guiding visitors deeper into the grove's dreamlike corridors. The balance between cultivation and wilderness is precise. The bamboo is allowed to grow tall and thick, yet shaped just enough to create a passage, a rhythm, a sanctuary. Close your eyes and listen. The grove becomes an orchestra of subtle tones. When the wind is still, there is only the faint sigh of leaves high above, like the hush of distant surf. When a breeze stirs, stalks sway, and their hollow bodies knock together in low, woody chimes. Sometimes it is a single tock, tock, repeating like a heartbeat. Other times, a flurry of clacks and creaks ripple through the grove as if the entire forest were breathing. These sounds are not random, they have texture, rhythm, depth. Some are hollow and booming, others sharp and percussive, others high and brittle. Together, they create a music that is never the same twice, yet always soothing. This is why the Sagano Grove has been a place of contemplation for centuries. Monks, poets, and travelers have walked these paths not only for their beauty, but for their voice. The sound of bamboo is said to clear the mind, to create a bridge between the material and the spiritual. Listening, you begin to understand why. The grove does not demand your attention, but it does hold it gently, steadily, until thoughts drift away like leaves on the wind. Like all forests of Japan, the Sagano Grove is not just a landscape, but a dwelling for story. In the slender stalks, people have long heard whispers of kami spirits that dwell within the living green. Bamboo, in particular, has a powerful place in Japanese imagination. It is associated with purity, resilience, and luck. Villages once planted bamboo groves around their borders to ward off evil. In shrines, bamboo flutes were played as offerings to the gods, their breathy voices carrying prayers into the sky. Even today, bamboo is used in rituals for the new year, when arrangements of pine, plum, and bamboo kadamatsu are placed at doorways to invite prosperity. But perhaps the most famous tale born from bamboo is the story of Princess Kaguya. In the oldest surviving Japanese folktale, the tale of the bamboo cutter, a poor man discovers a glowing stalk of bamboo deep within the grove. Cutting it open, he finds a tiny girl inside, radiant as the moon. He and his wife raise her as their own, naming her Kaguya-hime. As she grows, her beauty becomes legendary, drawing suitors from across the land. Yet Kaguya is not of this world. She is from the moon, sent down for a time, and when her celestial kin arrive to take her home, she leaves behind the sorrowful earth, vanishing into the night sky. This story, told for over 1,000 years, ties bamboo to themes of mystery, illusion, and beauty too fleeting to hold. When you stand in Sagano, surrounded by stalks that glow like green lanterns, it is easy to imagine a celestial princess stepping from the shadows, her robes brushing the path like mist. Folklore also whispers of lighter spirits. Tanuki, the playful raccoon dogs of Japan, are said to haunt bamboo groves, shifting shape, creating illusions, and leading travelers astray. In the shifting soundscape, those sudden knocks, those flurries of creaks, it is not difficult to imagine their mischievous laughter. And among the slender stalks, where moonlight plays tricks with shadow, boundaries between the real and the imagined often feel thin. Now imagine the grove beneath the moon. The day's green radiance fades into something stranger. The bamboo, pale and silvered, becomes otherworldly. Their straight columns catch the moonlight and seem to glow softly from within, as if each stalk were a lantern. Shadows stretch long across the path, overlapping and weaving into patterns that shift with the wind. The air cools. Unlike Yakushima's heavy humidity, Sagano at night feels light, open, touched with the fragrance of earth and grass. Breathing in, you catch the faint sweetness of fresh shoots, the clean scent of damp leaves. It is not thick and resinous, but delicate, airy, like the fragrance of early spring. And then the sound. At night, it becomes clearer, sharper, more pronounced. The wind, freed from the warmth of day, begins to move steadily through the stalks. The bamboo creaks and sways, striking each other in a gentle percussion. Some notes deep and woody, others light and brittle, together forming a music both random and orderly. A rustle rises overhead, thousands of leaves shivering against each other in a soft shimmer. The entire grove is alive with sound, yet it is not loud. It is soothing, hypnotic, like the rhythm of rain on a roof. Walking the path, you feel yourself small among endless pillars, the world reduced to vertical lines and horizontal whispers. Above, narrow slits of night sky appear, stars glimmering like scattered grains of light. Between them and the earth, the bamboo holds you as though suspended in a dream. You stop for a moment and close your eyes. The sound surrounds you. A low knock from the left, a hollow echo from the right, a sweeping rustle above. It is as though the grove itself is speaking, not in words, but in rhythm. A conversation between wind and wood, carried on for centuries, endless, unhurried. Here, in the Sagano Grove at night, illusion and reality intertwine. You can believe in moon princesses. You can believe in spirits that trick and protect. You can believe in boundaries so thin that one step takes you from this world into another. The bamboo does not argue. It simply sways and whispers and sings. And so we drift onward. From Yakushima's primeval cedars, we travelled to Sagano's ethereal bamboo, each forest carrying its own voice. The cedars spoke with patience and age, their wisdom written in centuries. The bamboo speaks with rhythm and lightness, its music carrying us like a lullaby. But our journey is not complete. Ahead lies a forest with a different spirit, one solemn, one charged with silence and resilience. A forest born from fire, rooted in volcanic stone, standing at the foot of Japan's sacred mountain. When you are ready, we will step softly again into Aokigahara Jukai, the Sea of Trees. Chapter 3. Aokigahara Jukai, the Sea of Trees at the foot of Fuji. At the northern base of Japan's sacred mountain, where the slopes of Fuji-san give way to rolling lava plains, lies a forest unlike any other. Locals call it Jukai, the Sea of Trees. To enter it, is to step into silence so profound that even your own heartbeat feels like an intrusion. This is Aokigahara. Approaching from the outside, the forest appears dense, almost impenetrable. From above, it stretches in deep green waves, unbroken, like an ocean frozen in place. There are no wide meadows here, no broad rivers winding through. Instead, the land rises and falls with hidden ridges and gullies, all swallowed by a canopy of evergreen trees. The forest seems endless, a sea that drowns not in water, but in foliage. Step beneath its eaves, and the world changes. The air cools instantly, heavy with the scent of moss and earth. The light dims, filtered through thick layers of leaves. The forest floor is uneven, tangled with roots, hidden boulders, and ridges of black volcanic rock. Paths vanish quickly, swallowed by undergrowth. Sound itself seems dampened, absorbed by moss and soil, until even a bird call feels distant, softened, almost secret. Unlike Yakushima, where rain sings endlessly, or Sagano, where bamboo whispers in the wind, Aokigahara's voice is silence. It is a silence not of emptiness, but of weight profound, steady, unyielding. Aokigahara is young compared to Yakushima's millennia-old Cedars. It was born about 1,200 years ago in the 9th century when Mount Fuji erupted. Rivers of lava spilled down its flanks, cooling into dark, jagged rock. Over centuries, moss crept across the stone, soil gathered in pockets, and trees took root in the cracks. Even today, if you look closely, you can see the lava's imprint. The ground is uneven, riddled with crevices. In some places, you find hollow chambers beneath the surface, formed when molten rock hardened on the outside, but continued to flow within. These chambers became caves, dark, icy places that remain frozen year-round. Narusawa Ice Cave and Fugaku Wind Cave are among the most famous, their walls sheathed in ice even in the height of summer. Because the soil here is shallow, trees cannot dig deep roots. Instead, their roots spread outward across the surface, twisted and gnarled, gripping rock-like hands. Walking the forest floor, you feel them rising beneath your boots, weaving into patterns, crossing one another like veins. It gives the land a sense of restlessness, as though the ground itself is alive and shifting. Despite its volcanic foundation, Aokigahara is rich in life. The canopy is formed by evergreens, hemlocks, cypresses, and Japanese cedars. Between them grow maples and oaks, painting the forest with bursts of red and gold in autumn. Beneath the trees, mosses spread in endless carpets, covering boulders, tree trunks, and even fallen branches, so that everything feels softened, muted, wrapped in green. Wildflowers bloom in spring, delicate touches of colour against the dark soil. Ferns unfurl in damp hollows. Insects hum quietly in shafts of filtered light. Small mammals like foxes and rabbits slip through the undergrowth, though they are rarely seen. Birds pass overhead, but their calls are muffled, absorbed into the silence. The caves beneath the forest provide unique habitats. In the ice caves, rare species of bats roost, their lives adapted to the perpetual cold. The volcanic soil, though shallow, is rich in minerals, supporting plants that can cling to the harshest of surfaces. Life here is not abundant in the way of Yakushima, but it is resilient, ingenious, adapted to challenge. Close your eyes and imagine stepping into the sea of trees. The first thing you notice is the quiet. Not the gentle music of bamboo, not the drip of cedar rain, just stillness. Your footsteps are softened by moss. Your breath seems loud. If you pause, the world holds its breath with you. This silence is not empty. but deep, filled with a weight that feels almost tangible, as though the air itself presses softly against your skin. The ground is uneven, and each step requires care. Roots twist like ropes across the path. Jagged stones jut from the soil, black with age, sometimes slick with moss. You step carefully, feeling the cool dampness beneath your feet. The light is dim, even at midday. The canopy is thick, layers upon layers of green needles and leaves, filtering the sun into soft, scattered beams. Occasionally, a shaft of light pierces through, catching a spray of moss or a cluster of leaves, making them glow like emerald lanterns. But most of the forest remains in twilight, shadowed and hushed. The air is cool and moist, carrying the earthy scent of damp stone and ancient trees. In places near the caves, a sudden draft of cold air brushes your face, carrying with it the crispness of ice. The fragrance of cedar needles mingles with the rich musk of soil. Unlike Yakushima's resinous sharpness or Sagano's sweetness, Aokigahara smells solemn, grounding, ancient. As you walk, you sense the texture of the forest's silence. It is not simply the absence of noise. It is as if the forest itself listens, absorbing every sound. Your own movements become careful, instinctively quieter, as though matching its stillness. Many describe Aokigahara as labyrinthine, a forest where paths vanish, where direction is easily lost. The evenness of the canopy, the similarity of the trees, the twisting roots and ridges all combine to create a place that feels disorienting. But within that disorientation lies its power. The sea of trees demands presence. You cannot move thoughtlessly here. Each step must be chosen, each direction considered. In this way, the forest teaches attentiveness, humility, patience. Unlike Yakushima, where time stretches across millennia, or Sagano, where illusion and music dance, Aokigahara feels anchored in the present moment. Its silence pulls you inward, into yourself. Thoughts that were scattered become sharper, clearer, simply because there is nothing else, no distraction, no sound, only the steady quiet of stone, root, and leaf. For some, this silence can feel heavy. For others, it feels like release. But to all who enter, it is undeniable. This is a forest that does not yield easily to human presence. It exists in its own rhythm, shaped not by our stories, but by fire, rock, and time. And it is here, in this weight of silence, that the old folklore begins to take root. For centuries, the sea of trees has carried with it a weight not only of silence, but of story. In the Shinto tradition, forests are sacred spaces, dwelling places of kami spirits that inhabit rocks, rivers, and living trees. Aokigahara, born from the fire of Mount Fuji, is no exception. The mountain itself is revered as divine, a sacred body rising toward the heavens. And at its base, the Jukai is seen as a threshold between worlds. The volcanic stone, the labyrinthine paths, the profound silence, all of these give the forest an aura of power. In older times, it was said that strong kami roamed among its trees. Some were guardians, others tricksters, still others embodiments of the restless earth itself. Travelers told of hearing voices in the stillness, or of being led astray by unseen hands. The moss-covered stones and roots were said to hide spirits who tested those who passed, measuring their respect and attentiveness. The forest's mystery also gave rise to darker legends. Tales of yurei, restless spirits, were said to haunt its depths. Old stories spoke of Ubisute, the abandonment of the elderly in remote places during times of famine, though historians debate how common this practice truly was. Whatever the truth, Such legends have contributed to the aura of solemnity that clings to Aokigahara. Yet beneath these tales lies a deeper, more universal truth. Forests like this are places of power. They strip away the noise of the surface world, confronting us with silence so complete that we cannot avoid ourselves. In that silence, some find unease, others find peace. The forest itself makes no judgment, it simply endures. In more recent times, Aokigahara has become associated with profound sorrow. Its silence, its density, its reputation as a place where one can vanish has drawn those in despair. This association is well known, often sensationalized in popular culture. But here, in this gentle journey, we approach it with care. To acknowledge this truth is to recognize the depth of human struggle, but also to remember that the forest itself is not tragedy. It is resilience, it is renewal. The moss still grows across the stones. The trees still rise from shallow soil. The ice caves remain cool and steady, even as centuries pass. Life here endures, not in defiance of hardship, but because hardship is woven into its very foundation. Today, visitors walk the forest with reverence. Some come to reflect, some to honor, some simply to listen. Guides remind travelers to tread with respect, not only for the natural beauty, but for the weight of memory the place carries. Aokigahara stands as both a sanctuary and a reminder. The earth holds our stories, even the painful ones, and teaches us that endurance is possible. Now, let us step into the sea of trees at night. The last light of the sun has vanished behind Fuji's slopes. The forest deepens into shadow until even the paths seem to dissolve. The canopy closes above, thick and dark, allowing only slivers of starlight to reach the floor. Your lantern glows faintly, but its light is quickly swallowed, absorbed by moss and bark. The silence, already profound, becomes absolute. You can hear the sound of your own breath, the steady rhythm of your pulse in your ears. When you pause, it feels as though the forest itself is pausing with you, waiting, listening. The air cools sharply. A breeze drifts from the direction of the caves, carrying with it the chill of ancient ice. It brushes your skin like the touch of stone. In the stillness, even the smallest sensation becomes amplified. The texture of roots beneath your hand, the faint dampness of moss against your palm, the crisp fragrance of cedar needles crushed underfoot. Above the trees, hidden from your sight, stars wheel silently across the sky. On clear nights, the Milky Way can sometimes be seen, a river of light arching above Mount Fuji. Though the canopy hides it from your eyes, you sense its presence, its quiet immensity pressing down with the same weight as the forest's silence. Sitting at the edge of a moss-covered boulder, you let the darkness embrace you. The silence does not feel empty. It feels full, as though every stone, every root, every breath of air holds something vast and enduring. It is a silence that does not erase, but contains. It carries the weight of history, of sorrow, of resilience, of life that refuses to yield. And so, we leave the sea of trees. Aokigahara has shown us silence, not an emptiness, but a fullness, a presence that holds sorrow and resilience alike. Beneath the shadow of Fuji, we have walked among roots that grip volcanic stone, felt the cool breath of hidden caves, and sat with a quiet that asks nothing, yet gives everything. From the cedars of Yakushima, we learned patience. From the bamboo of Sagano, we heard beauty and illusion. And here, in Aokigahara, we found endurance in silence. But our journey does not end here. Ahead, the land shifts once more. The shadows lift, the sky broadens, and the air grows light with change. We travel north, across mountains and seas, until we reach the wide horizons of Hokkaido. There, among graceful trunks of silver and white, another forest waits one that speaks not of stillness, but of renewal. Let us walk onward now into the birch forests of Japan's northern frontier. Chapter 4: The Birch Forests of Hokkaido, a Symphony of Seasons. We leave Aokigahara behind, its silence still lingering like a steady echo in the heart. The moss-covered stones fade, the chill of volcanic air softens, and the dark canopy begins to open. Slowly, the land changes. The soil grows richer, the air clearer. The weight of shadow gives way to light. We travel northward across the length of Japan until we reach its great northern island, Hokkaido. Here, the forests are different, lighter, brighter, touched by wide skies and shifting seasons, and among them stand the birches, white-trunked, graceful, shimmering like pillars of frost, even in the warmth of summer. Where Yakushima was primeval, Sagano dreamlike, and Aokigahara solemn, Hokkaido's birch forests are rhythmic, alive with change. They speak not only of endurance, but of renewal, the turning of the year, the endless dance of seasons. Imagine yourself stepping into a birch grove at dawn. The trunks rise around you in slender ranks, their bark smooth and pale, painted with strokes of silver and charcoal. Unlike the towering cedars or endless bamboo, birches carry a lightness. Their leaves tremble with the faintest breeze, catching the morning sun like countless coins of gold. The forest floor glows with grasses and wildflowers, open and inviting. The air is crisp, cooler than in the southern forests, carrying the scent of dew and earth. A chorus of birds greets the morning warblers, thrushes, the sharp call of woodpeckers echoing from trunk to trunk. Above it all, the sky is vast, stretching wide in hues of blue that seem to go on forever. Here, the forest does not enclose you. It welcomes you into openness, into a rhythm shaped by the cycles of snow, thaw, bloom, and fall. Hokkaido is Japan's frontier of seasons. Its winters are long, blanketed in deep snow. Its summers are brief but radiant, filled with flowers and long golden days. The birch forests thrive in this rhythm, adapted to cold, resilient to storms. Their bark reflects sunlight, protecting them from cracking in the freeze. Their leaves shift easily with the wind, reducing the weight of snow. Beneath their canopy roam the island's creatures, the Izo deer, graceful and watchful, moving quietly through the undergrowth. The Hokkaido fox, fiery in color, slipping between trunks with playful caution. And, in more remote places, the mighty Usuri brown bear, a guardian of the northern wild. Overhead, in marshes and clearings, the red-crowned crane dances long-legged, elegant, its call carrying through the crisp air like a trumpet of the sky. In spring, the ground bursts with wildflowers, lilies, irises, and the delicate blooms of alpine plants. In summer, grasses grow tall, and the birches shimmer in full green. Autumn brings fire, leaves turning amber, gold, and scarlet, carpeting the ground in brilliance. And winter returns with silence, the trunks stark against snow, their bark glowing under pale light. Each season transforms the forest completely, yet the birches remain constant, slender sentinels, marking time with grace. In Japanese culture, birches do not hold quite the same ancient presence as cedars or bamboo, yet they are admired for their resilience, their purity, their connection to cycles of renewal. In the Ainu tradition, the indigenous people of Hokkaido, the forests are alive with spirits known as kamui. Bears, foxes, owls, and even trees themselves are seen as divine beings, each carrying wisdom and power. The Ainu tell stories of the bear as a god visiting the world in physical form, and of owls as guardians who see into the night. Within birch groves, these spirits are thought to dwell quietly, watching over the land and its people. The slender trunks, gleaming like white fire even in twilight, are seen as boundaries between worlds, markers of purity, guides through the seasons. Walking through the birch forests with this knowledge, you feel a sense of companionship, not the solemn guardianship of Yakushima's cedars, nor the illusions of Sagano's bamboo, nor the heavy silence of Aokigahara, but something gentler, a companionship of cycles, of breath, of change. The birches remind us that nothing is fixed, and yet everything endures. Now imagine the birch forest at night. The sun has set, and the air carries the cool breath of northern skies. The trunks glow faintly in the moonlight, their bark silver white, standing like countless quiet lanterns. Unlike darker forests, the birch grove never feels entirely shadowed. The pale bark reflects even the faintest light, creating an otherworldly glow. The wind moves softly through the leaves, and they tremble, whispering like a chorus of tiny bells. Somewhere nearby, a fox barks a short, sharp sound, then silence returns. Above, the stars are dazzling, clearer than in the crowded skies of the south. The Milky Way stretches across the heavens, mirrored faintly in the pale trunks below. You sit on a mossy stone, wrapped in cool air, and listen. The night is not oppressive here. It is spacious, open, filled with subtle voices, the rustle of leaves, the distant splash of a stream, the call of a night bird echoing between the trees. Breathing slowly, you feel the rhythm of the seasons around you. The birches have seen countless winters and summers, yet each leaf trembles as if new. Time here is not heavy. It flows like wind through branches, like snow falling silently, like blossoms opening in spring. The birch forests of Hokkaido are a reminder that nature is not only endurance, not only silence, not only beauty, but also change. To sit among them is to feel the year turning in your breath. To see that even after the coldest winter, the green returns. To know that each season, no matter how brief or harsh, carries its own gift. And so, our journey through Japan's forests is complete. From Yakushima's cedars, ancient patience rooted in time, to Sagano's bamboo music and illusion, a dance of beauty, to Aokigahara's sea of trees' solemn silence, resilience born of fire, and now to Hokkaido's birch's lightness, renewal, the endless turning of the seasons. Together, these forests form a chorus: patience, beauty, silence, renewal, a lullaby of the land, whispered across islands and centuries, carried in rain and wind and stone. As we step back from these paths, the forests remain waiting, listening, dreaming. They are always here, whispering in rain and wind, ready to welcome us again. For now, let their voices drift with you into rest. Carry with you the patience of cedar, the music of bamboo, the silence of stone, and the renewal of birch. The forests hold you gently, and in their embrace you may sleep. Good night.